Yeah, if you want, but it will only be an hour, so probably by the time that they, how you say it, that people join and it picks up. Sorry, I'm distracted. By that time, we will already be done.
Okay.
But I will send you all the link on Slack, and I'm going to make some social media posts.
You already started the stream?
Yes, but it takes a few seconds to kick in.
Okay, so I'm just gonna wait some seconds and then I'm gonna make the post.
Can someone can someone test the audio basically if I'm talking and now someone else talks?
Okay, sure.
Okay. And once I actually make this post, people will start rolling in. So
some doubling on the audio if other people speak.
How about now?
Let's just test it again.
Hello.
Do you hear yourself or?
No, now it's fine. Now I can hear myself double.
Yeah, but it's like pretty low now. Or is it just me?
The audio.
Now it's fixed, but basically my mic, I need to mute it.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining. We are just setting up the stream. In this stream we have multiple team members with me, so we're just figuring out the audio. I will introduce everyone in a couple of minutes and give people a chance to join. Anyway, thanks for joining. Don't forget, all the courses are 50% off, and we're gonna have a fun stream.
Okay.
Okay, welcome. Well, 23 viewers, that's enough to join. So, what I want to do is this is quite a special stream, because normally you are all used to just me being on stream and working on an environment. The environment part has not changed, but basically I have some team members with me. So not many people might know this, but next to Fast Track Tutorials, I also own an outsourcing studio. We are called ScansMatter, and we are working hard on a bunch of exciting projects. You might sometimes see glimpses of it, like for example, a cool city project, which I can show you in just a second. Here we go. Let me just drag this on screen. So we create basically very large-scale environments, props, materials, bunch of stuff like that. And I wanted to introduce you to a few team members. We have Kobus Viljoen, who is our senior environment artist. We have
Hey guys.
hello. We have Santiago Monti, who is also an environment/prop artist.
Hello everyone.
We have Lisa Bilai, who is a prop/scan artist.
Hey.
And we have Ezekiel Delaney, who is our material artist.
Hey guys.
And Ezekiel also runs a really cool Discord server, which I'm gonna show you, just promote. So if you're really interested in materials, make sure to join the server. It has really great content, mentorships, and a bunch of other stuff, and the community is growing fast. So highly recommend it. Okay, awesome. So what we will do in this stream is essentially we're just gonna have a relaxed chat. If you guys have any questions for me or the team or anything like that, then please ask. I hope that if you ask them how it is working for me, that they give you nice answers, but we'll see. And for the rest, I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm going to be working on our office environment to complete that, which is a small environment, but it's the latest environment that we are going to release on Fab and on our soon-to-launch content marketplace, which we will talk about a bit later. Jorn, the Discord is in the description of this video, it should be. When is the Substance Designer course coming out? the substance designer course, I believe the one you're talking about, is now actually being handled by Ezekiel. So it will come out via his channels. I don't know if Ezekiel cares to mention something.
Yeah, I'm still working on the tutorials because I have a series of tutorials to launch. The tutorials that we were thinking to launch, I think I'm going to be launching them for New Year, if I'm not mistaken, with a new website. So let's say about in a month, you will be able to see them as well.
Okay, awesome. And I will share the... Sorry, I completely forgot to share the link to the material Discord.
No problem.
There you go. So, and Cobus, can you type something in chat? Then I will make you moderator. Just
I think he did that last night. I'll just, yeah, he did that last night.
okay.
So my name is already in moderator.
Awesome. Okay. So, in terms of questions, if we have like a few questions that we just written down that we want to have a chat about, but if someone else in the chat has some additional questions, please let me know. I feel like the very first topic which would be interested is to have a chat about AI. AI seems to be something that, well, rightfully so, people are quite worried about. Now, I guess I speak for everyone that we won't be talking about the 2D side of AI, but more about like the 3D side and which impact we think that it will have in the industry. I would like, before I go first, I would like other people to go first. So whoever wants to go first, please speak up. What you think about AI, how you think it will progress and how it will impact the industry.
I think like 3D AI would just, it would do the same as the kind of the 2D AI did. It would replace that like the bottom half of what we do. So things like blockouts and just rough shapes before the finalization step. I think from my side that'll just be kind of what 3D AI will help us with. But getting it to do a fully textured, fully created model, I think is like 6 or 7 years away at this point. This is my opinion.
Yeah, I feel like that's pretty accurate. Of course, 3D AI, I feel like because 3D is such a technical aspect, it's not so much about replacing artists, although, to be fair, even in 2D right now, it's still not replacing artists for high quality commercial work. Some companies might use it, but if your company is in any way slightly art focused, I feel like AI still isn't good enough. But yeah, for 3D, it's super technical. Sure, it might replace certain aspects. These could be extremely basic 3D models, for example, but you still need artists to basically set everything up in engine. You need artists to, sorry, it's hard to speak and work at the same time. Yeah, to set everything up in the engine. You need artists to make sure that just the general feel of whatever you're creating is correct, that the mood is correct, and also a bunch of technical aspects. Like all of these engines, you hear a lot of people talking about, oh, but what if AI is just going to be like used to replace all graphics? But I feel something like that maybe after like many years, it will go this direction, but in the end you still need someone to direct the work, and only an artist can do that.
Yeah, and I feel we've forgotten about legal part of it, because it's like for now it's impossible to use for something what you want to sell later. I used to try some AI like a few days ago. It was okay for some low quality mobile game, which is like, oh yeah, it can work, but again, if you want to sell it, if you want to make money on it, it will not work for you. So you still need to hire artists, still need to do it yourself and create 3D.
Yeah, I agree with that. Anyone else wants to chip in?
Yeah, for textures, I think it's pretty much the same. Like it might replace some specific areas, but after that, you still need someone to kind of like work its way through it. It's not like instead of using the word replacing a person, I would say replacing other softwares. It's gonna be at the end a tool that you are going to use to create the art that you want to make for the studio you're working at, especially.
It essentially becomes kind of how generators are in Substance Painter, where it just makes you get to the result you were looking for anyway easier.
Yeah, I agree too.
Yeah, if I like comparing to, like, for example, some years ago when Substance Designer was kind of like starting to be a thing in texturing, people started to complain a little bit about using ZBrush with Substance Designer. That if you have to make a material, it has to be done fully in Substance Designer, but at the end, what you care about is the result that you're going to be using in your scene. So if you can add some extra tools that are going to help you get the best quality or result you need for what you're aiming to, I don't think it's a bad idea, to be honest.
Yeah, and I feel like AI is also going to be used more as like a refinement tool or a variation tool, that kind of sense. We have also been not experimenting, but we've kept a close eye out on, for example, the act where one of your artists creates an asset that has like quite generic textures. Like over here, all these textures you see on here, they are quite generic. They work in very many situations. And then be able to use AI to alter those textures, for example, for a post-apocalyptic environment or a sci-fi environment, stuff like that, where the core model is still the same. It's just that AI helps you with those additional variations. Let's have a look at some questions. Hi everyone, I'm a 3D artist from Laksha Digital. I hope I say that correct. My favorite subject is weapons, and I'm particularly interested in learning how to become a weapon artist, especially focused on texturing. Well, in that case, you are in luck, because literally yesterday I launched a brand new course on how to create game-ready weapons completely from start to finish. I worked with Sam Coppola, who is a weapon artist at Tripwire Interactive. And over the past few months, he has worked really hard to create this course. And if I say so myself, I find that the quality ended up being really nice. So if you're interested, make sure to get that course. It's 50% off right now. And I'll just leave it at that. But we also have a bunch of other courses which are specifically courses focused on texturing. Over here, the creating 3D assets for game and production studios is also focused a lot on texturing. And also, nice thing about that one is that one actually explains a lot on how we work as a team when creating our environments. And next to that, we also have a realistic prop texturing course. Let's see. Emil, are you still accepting external freelance jobs? Sadly, no. For now, me and my team are enough. But whenever we are going to work again with more additional freelance artists, we will make sure to make public posts around it. But even in this scene, a lot of stuff in here has been created by freelance artists. I believe this stuff over here. So we do often work with external prop artists because we have basically the team that we have at ScansMatter. It's the core team. The responsibilities of our core team is to create really complicated assets. It is to create and set up environments. Of course, do management stuff of other projects. And we are also working with clients. But naturally, sometimes we have projects that we just cannot handle because you can only create assets so fast. And during those times, we often employ freelance artists. Just to give you some insight on how we handle this kind of stuff.
Yes, and I hope I will not be fired after it, but we finished the city, and I'm like, oh, I can put it in my portfolio, and I realized that what I do a blockout, well, I do some environment work, but blockouts, and then freelancer finish it, and I cannot put it in my portfolio because it's not my work, and it's quite annoying.
I had that same issue with the city. I created so many blockouts.
Yeah, but like for the people here, like Lisa, she had the luxury when working on Silent Hill that she actually got to create assets and finish them. But for me, this is the most normal thing. When I worked on The Division, I think I touched probably like 200 or 300 assets, and in the end, I only had like 20 assets that I could actually post on my portfolio. It's so normal in the AAA game industry to hand things off to outsourcers.
Yes, but it's still sad.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, at least you can say like you have worked on such a big title for like your portfolio and stuff. Even though you don't really show like a full asset or whatever, you can say that you have worked there.
Yeah.
Yes, but we're all here for likes and appreciate
Yeah.
our works.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes. And you don't know, like, of course, many people here don't know what I'm talking about because it's not announced yet. But we could become like the next Megascans, and then your work will be in every type of game and film that you can imagine. Who knows?
Let's hope so.
Hey, can we create a 3D blockout, generate a depth map from it, and then use ControlNet to process some prompts into a visual representation of the possible outcome? I have actually looked into where we create a 3D blockout and then basically use that for further visualization. Of course, I'm not a massive expert on AI tools, and of course, as soon as you want to go real time, this all doesn't matter. But let's say that you want to generate a single image. The thing that I noticed is that AI is so focused on colors that if it's a white blockout, it will or destroy the shape to turn it into a colored shape, or it just doesn't understand and it will just give you a white desk even though you want a wooden desk. Yes, my studio received a few of your assets, like for outsourcing. Proud to say I worked on a few of those assets myself. Not completely sure what you mean, but nice if you're proud. Oh, Lisa's mic volume is a bit low. I'll tell her.
It's a bit quiet on our side as well, but I'm assuming that's because the audio is coming through your mic.
Yeah.
She's not on Slack on her own. On Zoom on her own.
Yeah, but I guess tricky thing is like I'm so used to speaking in a mic that I put my volume at 2. But then as soon as other people are speaking through it, it's all off. Wow, it's really... You know what I'm going to do? Because it is really difficult for me to actually work while talking, and I just want to properly talk about a few topics, is I'm just going to play a video of me working, essentially, and take it from there. No, but I think in general, actually, you know what? I'm going to load up the city, and I think it will be fun for us to just have a chat about how we actually created the city. I think that will also be useful for people to know. Going from like the very beginning. And I can also see if we actually have some, let's see if I have some old content about this city. Let me just load it up. Could you share a bit more about your journey on where you are now, how it was to leave large companies and start your own business selling assets and courses? I will slightly transform that one, and I feel like it's nice if everyone explains the journey, because I'm sure that a lot of people here, they are here because they are still learning to become an artist. And I feel everyone has a very different journey, especially with our timelines. Like, my journey will be very difficult to replicate nowadays because I started 12 years ago. The industry was a very different place. But just to like kick things off, in case for me, I was on an art school for like 1 year, probably. Yeah, 1 year. And essentially, because I live in a very small country, the art schools, they were simply not very good. And I realized that I already knew more just following 3D courses, and back then it was mostly just YouTube. There weren't that many paid courses actually. Following 3D courses, and I really hated school, so I decided to basically just apply for a job, just like probably many here. I think I did 2 rounds of applying. The first round, not a single person came back to me, and when I say applying, I mean like 20, 30, 40 companies that I sent my resume to all over the world. And the second time, one no wait, two companies actually came to me. The first one was Playground Games, for which they ended up offering me an interview, and the second one was Rockstar Games. Now, during that time, Rockstar Games had a lot of, how you say it, bad media in how they treat their artists and their employees. I'm sure for people that are a bit older, they still know. I don't know if Rockstar is still like that, but essentially as a beginner artist, this made me a bit scared. So I ended up going for Playground Games and literally just canceling my interview to Rockstar. I find that working for a large company, you will learn a lot very fast, but you will also basically specialize in only one thing. So in my case, my specialization for the past few years really was into props. The only reason I know a lot of environment is because I happen to make tutorials on it, in which case I also just follow tutorials myself to learn it. But what is tricky is, yes, leaving larger companies. I was also sad to leave. I was actually super close to getting a job at Naughty Dog, which, for the people who don't know, is my favorite company in for the longest time, like my favorite games, stuff like that. But sadly, I left during COVID, and COVID with travel and visas doesn't really work. So that's where I kind of decided to start my own company. Because I'm, of course, the owner of the company, it's very different to me compared to people working for me. For me, everything is exciting, even making basic documentation and doing accounting. But I'm pretty sure that, well, I know that Lisa, because Lisa also does a slight management role within ScansMatter, and she gets really annoyed when I give her boring tasks because she is an artist. She just wants to create art.
Yes.
But I honestly really like it because it's very different having an outsourced studio compared to a large studio. Yes, a large studio, basically, you sit down and you focus on one project for 3 to 5 years. And then if you're lucky, the project goes well and your contract gets extended. Or if you're at a very big company like Ubisoft, you probably just get moved around. Although this last year, we've seen that moving around doesn't happen as much, sadly. But yeah, with an outsourced studio, you get so many different projects, different clients. Now, we are very lucky within ScansMatter that we almost, I don't know if you guys agree, but it almost feels like we're doing passion projects.
Yeah,
It's
I
just
feel
like
the same
making,
way.
Yeah.
yeah.
Really cool, small. I mean, not small, but like not super huge, like really long years of project. You know,
Hmm.
so you change a lot.
Yeah, definitely. So, like many of these projects, of course, I am the one that signs off on it because it needs, from a company perspective, it needs to have some market viability. We cannot just, for the fun, make something and make no money. Then our joy doesn't last very long. But yeah, so we've been very lucky to just basically be artists and work on very interesting stuff. We are now, and I'm happy to say that we are also starting to move more into working for clients, working on AAA games, working on with like various clients, everything from the film industry to the architectural industry to the game industry. And yeah, what I was saying is what I like about it is that you have a lot of variation within your job. I don't know how. Yeah, I think that's pretty much my part. Let's start with Cobus. Can you, because you also have quite an interesting background how you started, and especially with the country you're in, which doesn't have a lot of game industry.
Yeah, so to me, it was kind of like studying art was a very frowned upon thing because I'm from South Africa, and we have like 2 film studios that are somewhat kind of famous, but only like famous locally. So when I started studying animation, I was in the first class of animation that the college took, and I did that for 3 years, and it was to such a degree that I couldn't really kind of get a job overseas, and only like I worked at a small AR and VR mining simulator company for 5 years, and after that, I still hadn't learned enough for international like skills. So I also then started. I went to go study internationally, and I made a mule through kind of freelance prop art there, and then that's kind of how I ended up here. So long journey to kind of get to where I am today. But I mean, now I'm working on a high level assets and also doing like lecturing the same course I took as well to get to this level. So a bit of a long journey, but got there in the end.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, and I would say honestly, especially like from the very first day that you came with ScansMatter. So Cobus, for the people that don't know, he's been here from the very beginning. He was the first person I ever hired, which was not that long after. But something I really like is to see the growth of people, how fast they grow in their art and everything. And I'm proud to say that pretty much everyone in this team grows very quickly in the quality of their art and in the efficiency of their working. And I think, once again, one of the reasons for that is because we work on stuff that we kind of all want to work on. At least I try to make sure that everyone has input, that everyone gets to have a choice. Especially, like, for example, for the city, we gave different areas to different people and give them room to improve. And this sounds like a bad company promotion, but that's pretty much it. Anyone else wants to put in how they started and stuff like that? Maybe Lisa?
Yeah, okay. Well, I start like 4.
Sorry.
Sorry, yeah. I started like 4 years ago when the COVID started. I worked like a barista, and then I lost my work, and I'm like, okay, what to do? So I just like learned it from YouTube. I started with Blender, learned it from YouTube, some free tutorials, and I really fast found my first job, but it was like part-time job for, I don't know, 200 euros, like very, not really a salary, but they take me to teach me, and I did like kind of shitty job. I did an optimization, UV unwrapping. I didn't do any fun part, but someone need to do it, and they teach me like a lot. So I didn't spend a lot of time to learning something what I will not need. I learn right away what I will use in a industry, and it was like for a year or something. I keep studying in university. I doesn't study for art or something, but yeah. And then after a year of like, I don't know how to say this experience of the work, because it's like part-time job. It's not full-time. It's not like really year of working on the games. I found a job in the mobile studio. It's like in Kiev. They take me just because I have a big. I was a junior, but a big experience, like year, and like yeah, okay, there is a year, but nothing really. Oh my god, my English. Yeah, so I worked there. I was thinking about like my goal was to work in a realistic style, so I was thinking about move to Europe and work with realistic style games, and I like study after work, because like doing the mobile stylized game is nothing with what I want to do. And what I highly recommend is to have a mentor, because I had a mentor and he showed me right away like what I need, what the industry needed. So once again, I didn't study something what I don't need. I only study what the industry need, and then I have a chance. Because of war, I had to leave country, and Polish company, they help Ukrainians, and they're like, okay, we will take you to internship. And honestly, only because my mentor said to me, like, you need to do modular stuff, you need to do props, you need to do this, this, and this. I had it in my portfolio, and only because of that, they take me to the job. I was barely like, I wasn't really good for it, but they take me. Again, I study while I was already working. So I was like, how how you say it in English. I don't know.
Say where you worked.
Yeah, it was like just study while I working, like trying to understand what happening and what to do. I worked in a Bluebird team. It's a in Polish company in Krakow. Just somehow I was very lucky. I wasn't signed to Silent Hill project, and yeah, I love it.
And then she came to ScansMatter
Yeah.
because the project was done, I assume, and time to move on to the next step.
Yeah, we were just like we finished Silent Hill, and I'm like, okay, I need something else. I need to move. But what I was trying to say that because I saw someone say like I'm a junior, like any recommendation, just try to get. Well, yeah, it sounds very easy, but trying to get a job as fast as possible, and then you really learn a lot while already working, and don't need time to study all this stuff. Like, for example, I didn't know how to do materials and all this stuff because I'm a prop artist. Yeah, I didn't need to spend the time for it. And I highly recommend to work with a mentor because they can lead you on a way, on the fastest way to get a job and to know only what you need to know.
Just to give a shameless promotion, we actually are running mentorships. So if you're interested, oh no, wait, I don't think I have that in the description of this video. Join our
Maybe
Discord
not.
and ask about it. Let me say it like that. I can share a link soon, but yeah, and on that note, something that you should keep in mind, at least right now, because it is just a sad reality, that right now it is quite difficult to get a job as a 3D artist. This is not forever. Just like the stock market, industries go up and down. Right now we are just in down. And because of COVID, because of the recession, because of AI, because of everything combined, the down is a little bit larger than normal. Let me say it like that. But there is money in this industry. People need to keep developing stuff. Hiring will start again. Something that people seem to always forget is that we, as a game industry, we hired an insane amount of people during COVID because being an artist is a great job to do in like your own home. And because everyone was sitting at home, the game industry was doing amazing. So although it is shitty to say, a lot of the people losing their jobs now, it is just compensating for all those extra jobs that people got hired for, because it turns out after COVID that the world went back to normal, while the game studios were hoping that everyone just kept playing games. Don't know if anyone else within the team has input in that, or if we maybe want to move on to Santi or Ezekiel to hear their story.
Oh, my story.
Well, since you offer.
Oh yeah, sorry, I was muted all this time. I had some weird noise in the background. My family's doing some things. So yes, in my case, my situation at first was a little bit like Cobus. I'm from South America. I'm from Argentina. So in my country, there's really not much game art studies to deal with. So like to have kind of like a good view of it, like 2017, I finished secondary school and I had to choose a career. And that same year was when the first two game art universities were created, and they were super outdated. So first I went for something a little more technical. I didn't went for game design. I went for computer graphics. I saw that I really sucked at that. So I kind of like started looking for something else. And in 2019, I think I started with graphic design. For some reason, I just landed there. I think I wanted to do animation. So there was a career called graphic design and multimedia design. And while I was there at university, I really kind of fall in love with the design and art side of the career. And I started to realize that I could learn more from home than from the university itself at that point. Mostly because in some subjects, I usually have certain amount of topics to cover, and I always ended up cover way more subjects than I need to. So from there, I started working as a graphic designer, yes, as a branding designer for a specific studio here in my country. And when that year went to an end, I think it was 2020 or 2021, in 2020, I started to learn game art by myself as a self-taught artist. So I started first doing 3D models. I really liked the 3D models, and a friend of mine introduced me into substance designer. And I remember I started working on YouTube tutorials first because I didn't have money. And I think pandemic also just had hit, so there was no way for me to get money. I started doing just YouTube tutorials, and I didn't apply for quite a while. Like when I was half a year in learning substance designer, I started applying, and what happened is that I never got a response from any studio, not even the studios that were inside my country. So I was aiming actually to work in AAA studios and so on at that time, and I never got an answer during that first half of the year, until one day I joined a Discord community. Yes, that is called Dynasty Empire. It's quite known. It's led by a Ubisoft massive lead environment artist. And I met a guy in there that he is now one of my best friends on related to game art, and he was working on a specific like sword. He was working on a Witcher sword, and I saw his artwork and I was like super amazed, and I started asking him for advices on how can I get my first job, what could I do to enhance my portfolio. And he was like, dude, I don't know why you're asking this to me, because I'm not a professional. I'm a student. I haven't even started. And at that moment, I realized that I was so far away of actually getting a job, because the person who I was talking to was 10 times better than I, and he wasn't even able to get a job. So at that moment, I think ArtStation started to do the ArtStation learning. I talked with my family, and they agreed to pay the subscription for it for some months. And while I was doing that, I started a course from Enrico Tamhat, the material artist who is now a senior material artist at CD Projekt Red, and he made a tutorial on Flesh and Ice that is still on ArtStation. And I followed that tutorial. I followed it to the end. But when I finished this tutorial, instead of doing what I always did at that time, that was kind of like following a tutorial till the end and then uploading to ArtStation, what I did was I stopped right after I finished the tutorial, and I started over again. But I start to change things. I start to explore with the material. I start to kind of look my own version of the material, like kind of maintaining the theme of that material that I made in Substance Designer, keeping it procedural, but trying to look something more original, something that was more mine, you know. And when I finished with that artwork, that time the artwork kind of like blew up on ArtStation. I started to see a lot of comments, mostly from professionals that were material artists in the industry. And Enrico Tamihat also like comments my post, and that's when I decided to kind of approach him. And he gave me the best advice for portfolio. That's something that I've seen in the chat that people are asking. And the thing he told me was like, delete everything you have in your portfolio except for this last piece, and keep that last piece as your, let's say, your quality line. You can't upload something that is lower that quality, but you can upload something that is at the same quality or higher.
I very much
So
agree with
I
that.
did that.
Sorry.
Yes, I do. I mean, being a self-taught artist, it took me 1 year to get my first game art job in an outsourcing studio. So after this talk I had with Enrico, I moved forward and keep doing materials. Then I did an 80 levels article on Stonewall. And after that, I got my first job at an outsourcing studio in Argentina. That is the biggest one you can work in my country right now. There's no other bigger studio than that one. That is called Global Gaming Studio. They are an outsourcing studio that they work specifically for AAA studios. So most of their clients are related to EA, Ubisoft, and so on, and it's everything on their website as well. So I worked there for I think a year and a half actually. And while I was working there, halfway there, I also started working for the VFX industry for movies. Again, doing texturing. I just happened to meet someone who was working in some Hollywood, Hollywood environments for specific movies. And the guy who was doing the texturing was using Substance Designer, and he out of the blue decided to switch and go to game art. So he left the whole team like empty-handed on how to use Substance Designer, because in the movie industry they use Mari instead of Substance Designer. So I jumped in for half a year and helped them. And after that, while I was at that, I had a huge depression and I had to leave the industry for some months. When I thought I had everything figured out, I went back to working. I work at Onyx Studios, where the result was no different than before. I have a really bad time working there for some moments, some personal issues as well. And after that, I think I took at least 1 year of not working in the industry, because I was a little bit saturated of big projects and all the requests that studios usually make. And I think that, yes, after that year, I decided to kind of like make something different. And I started working with Emil here. And I also created, the Discord server that Emil shared some minutes ago, that is Future Material Artist, which is a Discord community specifically for texturing and Substance Designer and procedural tools as well. So I kind of like trying to do a switch from not only working in the industry, but helping students and other self-taught artists to learn from professionals, especially. I think that if you want to work in the industry, you should learn what we are doing in the industry in order to have the best chance at getting, your job.
Something that I noticed that I'm surprised about is that actually for having such a small team, a lot of us are teachers. Kobus is someone that does teaching. Lisa sometimes makes a tutorial. Ezekiel does his teaching via his channel. Not to leave out Santi, of course, but it's just...
Yeah, I was going to say.
Surprising. Yeah. Santi, do you have something to add how you end up, at least at ScansMatter?
Sure. I mean, my story is not as interesting and as long as Ezekiel's. So mine was like, I was pretty lost. I didn't really know what to do with my life. I was doing like some really bad, delivery guy and stuff, part-time jobs. And, I was thinking, what should I study and what should I do with my life? And I just thought about creating, as any child, like creating video games. And luckily, my city here in Valencia, Spain, we have like a really good video game art school. So, I had some money and just decided to start studying. I liked it, but I was, I think in most careers they show you like, I mean, in video game careers they show you like animation, programming, and stuff. So they show you like the basics of everything, but you don't really specialize. So I was, after finishing the career, I was still pretty lost, and I decided, I was looking for like different jobs at the game industry, and I was like, character artist, environment artist, and stuff. And I was asking my teachers, I don't know what to do, and they told me like, because I really also like making characters and stuff, but they told me like that's a really risky move, as getting a job as a character artist was at that moment was pretty hard. So I found a master's degree of environments and props for AAA games, and that's when I really started loving this. And luckily I was throwing my portfolio and stuff to a lot of companies, and Emil contacted me so if I wanted to work as a freelance artist, and like 1 month later he gave me the chance to work as a full-time artist here, and here I am.
Yeah, I like to think I have a good eye for people. And yeah, often when you start working with someone, I need people who are very flexible to work with, who can work quite fast, but also just like it needs to feel smooth when you work with them. And that's what I felt with Santi. So I was like, hey, we are doing some cool stuff. Come join us for full time, like we need it anyway. So funny enough, although of course whenever we hire for full-time positions, and sadly right now we are not hiring, but when we do, you often have a bigger chance getting a job with us if you've already worked with us in the past, of course. It's not to exclude people, because we will look at every single portfolio, but it's more that it's less riskful, I guess is the right word for it, to just, or if you have someone that you already know, because an art test can only show you so much, but actually working with someone for a month, that's infinitely more useful to know. I would say at this point, before we switch over to another topic which I find quite interesting, for the people that are joining new, first of all, Black Friday, 50% of all of our courses, but also 50% of all of our environments. That I don't know, I actually don't have it up here. Let me just quickly show you, because of course, like, we are now talking with me and the ScansMatter team, and we have created a bunch of stuff. A lot of stuff is behind the scenes that you have not seen and will probably not see for the next couple months. But we have some stuff over here. Here we go. Which we actually have for now just on Fab as like classic environments. Although I still feel like it doesn't do it justice, this presentation, but we are working on something better. So yeah, if you want to have 50% off on any of these environments or on any tutorials or anything like that, then make sure to check the link in the description. So something, let me just adjust my mic. Something that I wanted to talk about, which, I don't call it a controversial topic, but it is about the balance between the work you do as a student and the work you do as a professional. Because I have a feeling that something that people think is that people who are professional artists are like perfect, as in like we work super efficient, we know perfectly what to do. Every piece of art that we make is like, it's like portfolio quality. But it's literally the opposite. I've never worked as messy in my life as I did when I started to become a professional artist. Because when you are creating a 3D asset or something like that for your portfolio, or even if you are a student, it's important to show that you know the right techniques and that you get the absolute highest possible quality. But something like that is often not feasible or even necessary when you work on larger scale projects that have deadlines, that have a bunch of different stuff. Now, I will say that when we are working on ScansMatter, because we are creating content for a wide audience in terms of like different types of companies and artists, we do definitely need to work a lot more cleaner. But I personally, as someone who worked on like AAA games, I can tell you that the work you do is very messy. Like we leave random faces open. We have n-gons. We have like just messy textures, or like just as soon as you can, basically as soon as something is out of view, we don't care about it. I would like to know or hear the thoughts of other people for this. Maybe Lisa. Lisa just finished working on Silent Hill. Maybe she has some insight how they handled the art at Blooper, and if everything had to be strict and perfect, or if it was just like a bit of like a YOLO situation. Oh, I feel too old to say that word, but yeah.
Yeah, but you're probably not allowed to talk about it. What I wanted to say is, before I worked on mobile game, and this is where you need to be very clean. We baked everything, like zero waste, yeah. And at Texture, we always has a fight with my art director and technical director, because technical says like, oh, but you can do it with one color, like some MAC, for example, like just red dot, and it will be already texture. While my art director says like, oh, we need a gradient, we need some like more visual interest. So for mobile games, it's still important to keep everything very optimized and very clean. For PC, PlayStation, not so much, so I had to relearn a bit when I started to work for Silent Hill, because they are like, I optimized a lot. I do like very low poly, and they're like, no, you can do this, 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 and like, oh, but you don't even see this, and like, just let it be there. I'm like, oh, okay, that was a bit new to me.
It sounds very familiar to me.
Yeah, I was also told to work dirtier when I joined Scans because I also came from VR where we also just optimized everything, and I just had to add more phases to everything.
Oh yeah, I can still remember when Koos first started that he kept working to optimize, and I had to be like, no, like give me polygons. I don't want to see a single round polygonal edge or anything like that. Just throw as much as you want in it. Okay, that's over the top, but yeah, it. I can remember that it took a bit of back and forth before we got that concept. While for me, it's second nature to just be like, oh no, just symmetry and merge it together and just leave it there. It doesn't matter. Just like sync it into another mesh. It's fine. Just hide it with another mesh. You can believe how many times in the Division we just hit stuff by throwing another mesh on top because it was too much time and effort to kind of fix it. And to be very honest, we still do that in ScansMatter. For example, in the city environment. Actually, I am here. What we have is like we have. Let's see. Here we have like these transitions, and I was just lazy because I'm not gonna make it perfect. So I just basically throw on a decal to hide the fact that there is a really strict line over here. And here over here, this end, I just threw on once again like a single line that just has like a norm map to make it feel like it's a strip that ends. So this is like low level, but yeah, I can still remember that we had a story working on the vision, and basically we were refining an environment, and the environment had like a really nice ceiling window, and it was really nicely made. Like it looked really good. It was like gold and everything like that. But then when we went closer, it turns out what they did is they made the pillars out of trash bins that they just scaled to be very thin because they couldn't find a metal pole. So they just grabbed a trash bin, scaled it very thin, just stuck it into the wall, and that was their pillar.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's actually clever.
It sounds like a solution we've done before, yeah.
Yeah, another time we needed like an architectural room, and there were some really creative people in Ubisoft. Like I'm kind of sad because I'm not creative. I'm someone that can only really work from reference and stuff. But they were like, oh yeah, we need like an interesting wall. So what they did is they just grabbed a model of a pillow and just stacked it against the wall, and it made it seem like some type of weird architectural fancy wall and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I know, videos done. I don't know if anyone else has any input on this, but else we've been going for an hour. Some people have to leave at this point. So since this is the last topic, it might be a good point to leave. Unless anyone in the chat has any last minute questions also. I guess silence speaks words, that no one has anything to talk about this. I'm very grateful for your work. Thanks to your course, I got my first job in 3D. It's been my source of income for almost 3 years. That's really nice to hear. I like hearing stuff like that. I'm quite proud to say that I hear it quite often, even during these difficult times. So, really cool. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm actually also got my job on it because of fast track tutorials. It was my only one course is what I was studied, and it just has everything. So I'm like, yeah, I will stuck with it.
I mean, last time I checked, I believe in total over the past 10 years that I've worked as a tutor, and I mean not just fast track tutorials, but the other brands, I think I've had a total of around 50 to 60,000 students. So it kind of makes sense that out of 60,000, if at least like a couple % gets a job thanks to me, then I feel like I did a pretty good job. At least I left a mark, so to speak.
So I just skipped the tutorials and just started working here and then followed the tutorials. I did it the wrong way around.
That's actually also pretty handy with me having tutorials that whenever I want someone in my team to do something specific, I just send them a part of one of my tutorials and just be like, oh, just follow this. And that's it.
That happened quite a few times.
Okay, awesome. Well, Ezekiel and Santiago already had to leave. I'm very sad that they didn't say goodbye, but okay. Thanks everyone for joining the live stream. Once again, the Black Friday sale will run until December 3rd. So you still have quite a bit of time to get the latest courses. Today we released a brand new course on how to create stylized characters for games. In this course I worked together with, Marcos Emilio Gusta, I hope I said it correctly, on how to create this completely game-ready stylized character. Do I have a good image? Here we go. There we go. Really cool course. The interesting thing about this course is that it literally has 0 time lapses. So you literally learn everything from start to finish. This will be the last course that will be released for a while. But we are slowly, hopefully, in the next year going to ramp up creating some more courses again. For now, thanks everyone for watching. And thanks to Cobus, Santiago, Ezekiel, and Lisa for joining this little chat. If you guys really, and I'm speaking to the viewers, if you really like this kind of stuff, we can do a bit more live streams like this where we are just chatting about random stuff. But let's have a chat in our Discord, which you can find in the description about this. Okay, I would say that's about it. Thanks everyone, and I will see you all tomorrow for the next live stream.
Thank you too. Bye.
Cheers everyone, see you guys next time.